Hey everybody, welcome back. So the heck, man. I think everyone was waiting for Sony to do something, but for it to happen so soon, I don't think anyone could have predicted that necessarily. And so if you haven't heard, Sony has bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. I'm pretty sure everyone clicking on this video already knows this. So with the press release, this has been said, this deal has been in the making for 4 or 5 months. From what I've read, I'm inclined to believe that a lot of people are obviously saying this is in direct response to Microsoft's acquisition. I don't know if that's true, but I think if negotiations were ongoing, the Microsoft deal sure as hell expedited negotiations and got the proverbial ball rolling down the hill that much faster. That I would probably say without a shadow of a doubt. So, and the thing is, with the last video I made talking about all these acquisitions, I thought of Bungie. I didn't even mention Bungie in the last video because Bungie obviously had this split from Microsoft. They probably still have a hangover from being under the wing of Activision Blizzard. And I remember reading they straight up cheered in the offices when they finally broke away from them and regained their independence. So I was thinking, in terms of dominoes to fall, Bungie would be one of the last ones to fall. I thought they'd hold out maybe for a little while and just enjoy their independence before they eventually had to maybe pick a ship to jump on board with. Yeah, so this definitely is a bit of a surprise for me. Sony makes sense, obviously, because they had, bad breakups with the other two I just mentioned. So this kind of makes sense for them, definitely. And I was talking to my buddy and I'm like, hey, everyone's going to get bought up probably at this rate. You may as well try and get the best deal you can and just let yourself get bought out. It kind of seems to be my thought process towards this whole thing anyway. And then, I was seeing a lot of people being like, was this a worthy purchase for Sony? Was it too expensive? Was it, is Bungie a worthy company to purchase? I think that'll have to be a wait and see thing. Yes, a lot of people have problems with Destiny. I played the first one religiously, really enjoyed it. Bungie can still make a solid shooter. Destiny 2 never really picked up. Yeah, they're very much the live service. Sony, I think, has definitely bought them for some of the live service components. That seems to be what's being talked about. That makes sense to me because so many of Sony's games already are just kind of like they're one and done. You buy them, you play them, you maybe pay some DLC for them when they come out, and then you move on to something else. Whereas Destiny is always doing new content. So that's something new for Sony. So that makes sense if that was part of their reason for doing that. I can totally see that. And then plus it just gives them a company who knows how to make a great first-person shooter, which is really important, obviously, since Call of Duty was just purchased. So that's great. And then I don't think they're going to be able to ransom Destiny or Bungie titles against Call of Duty. So, we'll have to see with that. And they have been talking about going multi-platform with their games or staying multi-platform. Of course they are. They're staying multi-platform for the games that are currently multi-platform. Maybe some of the games they have in development now or IPs they have in development now will be multi-platform still because that's the way they were planned within Bungie. But it's only a matter of time before Bungie titles are PlayStation exclusive with an eventual PC port or PC version as well. There will come a time when Bungie titles do not appear on the Xbox. It makes no sense for them, at least where I'm coming from, for PlayStation and Sony to let Bungie titles be on Xbox, because the whole point of all these acquisitions is to get the content for your service so people use your service. People aren't going to use your service if Bungie titles are on Xbox and they're only a Bungie fans, because then they're not going to get a PlayStation. But if it's just on PlayStation, they might. So that's what makes sense to me with this whole thing. Damn, I was really hoping, I guess hoping is the wrong word, but I was really expecting a Japanese company for Sony to pick up. I still think that's probably in the works. And they've even said more mergers or acquisitions are on the way. And like with the Take-Two Zynga deal, Microsoft Activision's deal, and then Sony's deal here, holy crap, what a January. What a fucking January this has been. And once again, don't love the direction, but fuck, it's a great watch. It's a great goddamn watch. And it's so weird to think that Bungie, the creators of Halo, one of the developers that helped cement the Xbox as a world-renowned console and video game developer, is now in Sony's house. It's so fucking bizarre. And it's just very much how like Microsoft has gotten IPs that Sony was known for with Spyro, I believe Spyro. There's just so much in the Activision Blizzard deal, I can't keep track. And Crash Bandicoot now being in Microsoft's house. Like, what other titles do we associate with these brands are going to flip-flop and switch? It's just absolutely fascinating. And it's interesting to think if this deal was on the go before the Activision Blizzard announcement, which I feel like it probably was. Imagine what's going to be done now because of that deal. If this wasn't directly linked to it with the Activision deal with Microsoft, what's Sony going to do now? And once again, and I think looking at, and this is a wise thing to do, is just look at the current relationships between Sony and other developers and Microsoft and other developers and see how those relationships work. Like with Sega and Phantasy Star, Microsoft very much got that series over here. And I just feel like they have that warm buddy-buddy relationship with Sega. So it could be. Nintendo does too, don't get me wrong. But I don't know if Nintendo's in the acquisition state of mind right now, whereas Microsoft very much is. So I can see them getting Sega, and like with Square Enix and Sony, they have a great relationship. Look at the PS5 only version of Final Fantasy VII Remake and all the exclusive titles and goodies that PlayStation gets via Square Enix. So I think that is a good crystal ball towards the future, is just to look at these relationships as they exist now, to see where they could potentially go. I think that's a very wise way of going about it. I could totally eat all my fucking words, and Microsoft could buy Square Enix, but I think that's maybe a good way to measure out how things are going to transpire. I don't know, man. It's just so fucking fascinating. I love it. And once again, good for Sony. I think time will tell if this purchase was worthy of the $3.6 billion or not. I think Bungie's next IP will really set the stage for if $3.6 billion was the right price point to acquire them. But as always, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I love talking to you guys about this shit. It's so bad for the industry, but so fascinating at the same time. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.